Next, we would like to welcome Dr. Ken. 接下来呢，我们即将要邀请到荣誉博士 Dr. Ken. Dr. Kenneth will receive his Bachelor of Science in Microbiology and Immunology and PhD in Pathology and Laboratory Medicine at the University of British Columbia. 我们接着欢迎到的这个 Dr. Ken 呢，他曾经是在英属哥伦比亚大学微生物学还有免疫学学士获得这样的学位，还有病理学与实验室医学获得博士学位。那我们今天呢，就要请我们的荣誉博士 Dr. Ken 带来他的精彩演讲。Welcome, Dr. Ken.
Hello, everyone. It is good to be here today to talk about how to keep the brain healthy and young by learning. As we know, babies love to learn. They want to touch everything, grab anything, and put anything they can find in the mouth because they just find the world around them so fascinating. They just can't wait to learn what's going on around him or her. When children get a little older, they learn how to play games with their friends. They learn in small groups, or they learn by themselves, and they're just like big sponges that can just absorb knowledge like you wouldn't believe how fast they can learn new material. And they also love to ask questions. And for many adults who have experience with children, they know children ask questions that you've never thought of, and you sometimes it's very difficult that you don't know even how to answer these fantastic questions. And when students get older, they have to go to school and formal education. Learning seems to be less fun and engaging. But then we know that there's a job to be done, and also finishing these exams, practices, and assignments allow us to practice the skills that we need to learn to perfect our profession or our field of study. And when graduation happens, many people think, that's it, we're done, no more school, no more learning for us. Actually, that's not the case. We actually have to keep learning in many of the work that we do. We not only learn new things in different positions, we always learn from each other, learn from our colleagues, learn from our supervisors, and also try to adapt and learn new technologies that would help to make our job more efficient. And learning happens all throughout the career. Even though people retired, many of them keep learning, not because they need it for the job or because they need the marks, because they go back to say, what do I like to learn? What is my interest? And what can I learn to keep my brain smart and happy? Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, designed and invented cars. He once said, anyone who stops learning is old. Whether this happens at 20 or 80, anyone who keeps on learning not only remains young, but becomes constantly more valuable, regardless of physical capacity. And why brain fitness matters, why we have to keep learning. Well, we know definitely learning improves our brain performance compared to people our similar age who is not constantly learning. And also, as we get older, there is a cognitive decline that happens. By keep learning, we may be able to delay this process to keep our brains sharp much longer. And when we talk about how to keep the brain healthy and delay the process of cognitive decline, we need to discuss cognitive reserve and brain reserve. We know there are factors that would help improve and maintain our cognitive reserve, and there are factors that actually would speed up its decline. For example, cognitive engagement, cognitive remediation, education, participating in leisure activities that we enjoy to do, having good nutrition, and having a good support social network are factors that would help maintain our cognitive reserve. And things like sedimentary lifestyle, such as watching TV all day, not being very active, having proper nutrition, people with lower education or lower social economic status, and also loneliness and isolation are detrimental to our brain health. This graph really simplifies what it means and the advantage of having a high cognitive reserve. People with high cognitive reserve when they encounter the point that of the cognitive change, they can keep the cognitive test score higher for much longer period of time compared to those with low cognitive reserve. And in terms of brain plasticity, we know our brain is very adaptable and very plastic. We can learn things, relearn things, and forget things. And sometimes forgetting some old stuff might be important for learning new concepts. As we age, as people age, the ability to respond to experiences and change in our brain gets much tougher. So it requires much more effort to make these changes as one ages. Does it mean that because you're getting older, your brain cannot learn, and that's why we stop learning? That's not true, because we know it is harder to learn, but if we're willing to put in the effort and you have a motivation to learn, we will still be able to achieve the goal. A few years ago, when I visited Taiwan, the National Museum, I found this bookmark. It says, "Read despite an old person's memory." Because we know our memory is getting worse, we just have to work a little harder to maintain the fitness of our brain. There are many, many studies, including this one from Harvard Health Block, talking about seniors go back to school, how learning a new skill can slow the cognitive aging process. And also things like learning a new music, playing the piano, can improve cognitive function, mood, and also overall improve the quality of life in older adults. So how can we learn in a scientific way? We can think about factors that can really, the building blocks that will allow us to learn more effectively, more efficiently. For example, we have to have very good mental health, be very emotionally engaged in what we're learning, in an environment that is conducive to learning. And we need to have a good memory in order to learn and retain this new information. With all the things combined together, we can actually rebuild the whole person using brain-based learning techniques. Remember at the beginning of the talk, why infants and children love to learn? Because learning is fun. And as we get older, we kind of seem to forget how fun learning could be. And in order to discover that learning is fun, you have to find out, you have to love what you do. And you have the option to choose how you learn and what you learn in an environment that you feel safe and you appreciate all the things that you're learning and find relevance into the material. And an environment that is inspiring, that with your friends, your other colleagues and peers, that you can learn together and challenge each other. And we just remember, learning doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Sometimes we fail. We encounter obstacles. We might not be able to learn things right away. Through perseverance and practice, and also embrace that failing could be fun at the same time. So once you kind of embrace all these concepts, you discover that learning is fun, you'll be able and more willing to learn new material, despite it could be a little more challenging to find at the beginning. Many of you probably heard of dopamine. And dopamine is a very important neurotransmitter in the reward pathway. New study also show that dopamine plays a big role in learning as well. And you can think about how when you really learn a new concept, you do find very fun and you feel happy, right? Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, has been shown to play an important role in memory formation and our brain plasticity. As we age, we know our blood BDNF level decreases. How can we sort of improve that and slow down the decrease of BDNF and keep our BDNF up at a high? Studies have shown in both human and animal models that having enough exercise can improve not only our cardiovascular health, but also improve the BDNF levels in our bloodstream. Having an environment, as well as in a good mental state, helps with the BDNF levels. This is a little more science for you. BDNF helps with memory consolidation. Forming new memories require new protein synthesis in the brain, and a bunch of signaling happens. BDNF would stabilize the neural synapse and making memory more solid, as well as changing from the short-term memory into more long-term memory. And we know if we want to work out our muscles, we go to the gym. But then how can we work out our brains? There are many, many ways that we can do to achieve this goal. One of the methods is to train your brain through a series of scientific and organized training methods. In addition, having good mental health by using things like meditation, cognitive wellness, as well as doing aerobic exercise to improve the blood flow, have all shown to play together in a role to keep our brain healthy and young. Finally, I would like to leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein. And you know, Albert Einstein discovered relativity, and he's one of the most famous scientists of times, and one of the greatest brains in history. He said, once you stop learning, you start dying. So if you want to die, keep learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ken. 谢谢 Dr. Ken 的专业说明。